We've made the new print settings dialog now that pops up and shows a few options. Next up, we need to actually add, to be honest, the edit and delete buttons as well. Similar to this print only drawings list here, we need those kind of buttons to be able to add and edit these view models here. While we're doing that, we need to think a little bit ahead about how we're going to edit these. Similar to the print actions over here, where we did a kind of JSON serialize and deserialize, we probably want to make that more generic so we can use it across other view models. So the first thing I want to do is get these kind of a delete button and an edit button. So let's just take a look at what we do in this section here. So we just search for new print action. You've got this list box, which is this list box here. And then inside the data template, all we do is we add a grid, and then we put the original content, which is the text, and then this important thing here, the buttons. So we've just copied that template. We'll go down to this one, which is new print settings. You can see we already have the data template, and it's containing this stack panel with the text in. So all we want to do is replace this data template. If we just paste it below a min so we can see, we'll want to take this grid and obviously put it inside. So say here, and let's just replace then the label. So let's cut the stack panel, the content we want, and replace that label, which is wrong because it's from the other control, and paste in our stack panel. And now we get the delete button that obviously would try to delete the selected item up here, which isn't right, but we can rebind that. But we also want a second button. We want an edit button. So for that, we will need a change in the grid. We'll need 3 columns. Or I'll do 4, so what we'll do is an auto, a 10, and an auto to give it some spacing. We'll move the delete button to the last one, so 0, 1, 2, 3. We'll copy the button, paste it above, and this one will be 0, 1. In fact, we'll want another space in there, so that will be 2 and 4. Now we've got 2 buttons, and obviously they're both deleted at the minute. We'll change this one to alert, so it's orange. And we'll change the icon to an edit for phosphor icon. And that's E3B2. And there's a nice little edit icon. We'll now need to bind these to commands. So you can see we have at the minute a delete print icon command. So this will be an edit print settings command is what we'll call it. And this will be a delete print, and then instead of item, settings command. Everything else should be bound the same, so it's still going to find the right view model. We've just got to go to this top level view model to add these new classes. So we go to this view model. We can see here we have the add new print item. We want the delete print item. So this is the one we want to copy. It basically will repeat a similar command as that one. We'll change this to delete print settings async. And then the only difference is, instead of the print list, we want the printer profiles. So we'll check the printer profiles. And then, because we don't have the database entry yet, what we want to do when we get it, so we'll put a note here for this, is delete from database, then refetch to update the UI, basically. So that would involve, I know it seems obvious, but it's best to make the notes. Delete from database. And then we'll call something like fetch print profiles, which we need to probably make that function for. So at the minute, we make the print profiles here, and we're just creating them in this list. So we probably want to move this out of the way and call this fetch print profiles. And then that could still be a relay command. It really doesn't matter. Private void fetch print profiles, and that just updates. So this would pull from the database. So to do pull from database, and now we can see that once we do the delete from database, so we'll commit it and say, delete from database, then we might as well refetch the entire table from the database to refresh it. For now, we'll have a new function. This will just be a temporary one we're going to have to make to work until we get the database. Delete print profile from UI. And this is purely going to be a temporary thing. This one won't really exist once we do it correctly. So if we scroll down to where the delete print item from UI is, we're going to clone this function again, because it's going to be very similar. So we will copy this entire method, change this to delete print profile from UI. And let's take a look at what we need to change. Where it's a printer list, it will be a printer profile. The confirm dialog is going to pop up. It's going to be the printer profile, and the job name is just going to be the name. I sure want to delete this print. Now, to be honest, I think if we move this around, delete print profile, are you sure you want to delete? And then this in here, I think it's going to look better, and we'll probably change it this way around. Because you don't really look at the title box, you kind of look at the text. So, delete print item. So that way around for both. And now that pops up, that's fine. We don't need this example in this one, we've got it in the other one. That's just so we don't forget how to do it. We'll show the dialog, ask for a confirm. If it's confirmed, we return, and then if so, we remove it from the list. And then same idea of selection, try to select the one previous, and if it is, we need to then update the printer profile. But in this case, we need to change the printer profile of the selected profile, not print list. So to do that, it would be the selected print list item, which won't be null because we've got it selected to get here. And then the printer profile ID, we want to update with the printer profile's current index, the one we want to go to, and its ID. And that should all bind with UI to work. So all we've really done there is kind of copy and pasted the other logic for the other list box and made the function suitable to bind for the other one. I guess we could test if that works now. I think we need to make the other method first though, or just so we can test this one, let's just change this to delete for the edit command, just so we can build and run, and let's see if this works. We go to actions, we can tag through and they all still work. And then we want to say click delete, and there you go. Well, you sure you want to delete the landscape, which is this? Let's click no, and it doesn't. Delete, click yes. And notice the buttons actually go disabled because it's running a relay command that's awaiting a dialog, so it literally disables the buttons. That's quite cool. So we click yes. There we go. It's deleted the landscape and selected the one below it. So if I click this one, delete, it should select the print portrait, which it does. And I guess if I delete all of them, let's just check nothing crashes kind of thing. There we go. And now all these are obviously missing. If we just tab back in and out, one thing to be aware of is this list is shared between all of them. So it isn't like you go into this print action and these are specific to just this one. These are complex profiles that are shared universally. So if we delete the print, say portrait, we select it in both, and we delete it from here, it will be gone in both, and that's the expected behavior. And now this one also doesn't have a selected profile because it doesn't exist. But that is perfectly valid and the expected behavior of the application. So the delete works. Next is the edit. We have the new print settings that pops up. So we just need to get this dialog to pop up, but be pre-filled with the profile here. Now the problem we have is when we do this, if we click edit and we pop up and, well, yeah, we got to bind to that obviously, but if we click the edit there and we filled this in with the view model that's actually in here, as we're typing, this view model behind would update, which is not what we want. So we need to make a copy of that. But let's just do the edit command first so that we can actually see what I mean, and then we'll solve that problem. We rename that back to edit, come into here, and then we have the delete item. So let's just chuck it here for now. We can probably organize these into regions at some point now the class is getting a little bit larger. I don't know why they're public, they can be private. And now we'll want a private. We need a task because we're going to be awaiting. There you go, edit print settings. And that's actually got it wrong. It should be edit. Oh no, that's right, edit print settings. And we'll put a note obviously to do pass this logic to a service that handles database, etc. In here we want to get the profile view model, which is the printer profiles dot first or default where the ID is equal to the ID passed in. So this will get us the printer profile that we want to edit. We need to do a null check. And if it's null, we'll just return. We could throw maybe just some warning when we have some login service maybe, but basically if that fails, there's something wrong with the UI. And then what we need to do is show a dialog. So we want to do the dialog service. This is exactly the same as the new print settings async here. So basically we can do this, and basically we want to await the show dialog with a new confirm dialog, and this will be printer settings. But the thing is, we want this printer settings view model to be this one here. We don't want the actual, new one to be made. We can set up title and dialog and things, but we basically want it to be this one. And because this is currently just a normal view model, we want to change this to a confirm dialog view model because we want to change these settings by popping them up. We could then make the default. We could have a constructor in here to set up the defaults. So we could then say inside the confirm dialog, if we look, we have the title, message, confirm, and cancel text we can set. So we could say the title equals print profile, the message equals, I'm not sure we're even going to show a message to be honest, but it's pulled that in from somewhere. That's literally text we've got written somewhere. I'm just trying to think, do we or will we have? No, we're not. Oh, we have it there, specify the printer to use. So it's actually figured that out. How has it figured that out? It's got it from the message. Printer settings view model. Oh, did we remake the... we remade it in the last video. We literally remade this and we already have it here. Actions printer profile view model. We kind of already made it. So this printer settings view model is what we want to do in here. And we want to delete this printer settings view model then. And we'll rename this actions one to printer settings view model. So we've got some naming issues going on here. I think we got a bit confused with all this naming. So let's just clean that up as well. Let's just compile now, see what's broken, because obviously we've deleted a file and renamed. So printer settings view model should be right. So what's wrong with that? Oh, because it's print settings view model, we called it. Same here, print settings view model. And to be honest, I don't know whether I want to call it print settings. Let's think about this name in a minute. That seems to be built now, but we go to this view. We have, this is the print actions. So really this is the top level as a print action. And we have an actions print view model. Yeah, these names don't match. So the print actions page doesn't really have it, it's just all in the view model. And then inside of the top level view model, we have things like fetch print profiles, which is what they are called. So they want to be called profiles. And then print actions. So this shouldn't be called print settings. It doesn't really relate to anything. It should be called print profiles. So print profile view model is what we want to call it. Now, if IntelliSense worked, which it did, it's renamed everything. So back to where we were, we can now pop up a dialog, hopefully, with the print profile that's selected. So if we now go to actions, we select, say, the landscape and edit. There, that did not work. Not sure why that didn't work, actually. It's going to be, we've got this called printer settings view and this called print profile view. Remember, they've got to match for the view locator to find them. I never noticed that one. This one wants to be called print profile view. I'm sure that'll fit. Something obvious here. Oh, of course, now it's Mr. T off. We'll get there in a minute. And let's try now. This is surely going to work. There we go, finally. Right, back to where we were. Print landscape, click edit. There we go, it's got print landscape. Now you watch if I start typing here, you can see below, it's updating automatically. Now you can obviously, when you click no and handle things, reset. But the problem there is we don't really want to pop up and see it editing. We want to make a copy of that first. So we just take a look at where we had JSON serialized somewhere. So here, in the actions print view model, we have this save state and restore state. Now we really want to use this across, I think, all view models. I'm going to attempt to cut this and move it into the view model base. If I go to view model base now, paste it in here, and we're going to try and get this working inside of here. We're also going to need the save state. So we have a property here for save state we want to move out. And because I'm going to make use of this for effectively copying as well as just saving and restoring, I'm going to change this to actually be a public string save state. And we're just going to allow this to be accessed directly. Control dot on the JSON ignore. Everywhere it now says underscore save state. We're going to change to this. And we also want a has changed. Now this might get a bit tricky because the has changed is going to rely on new item, and this logic about it being a new item is specific to this view model. It's not generic. So we need to keep this here, but we need to make this a new version. Copy this out, go into the base, and we'll make a virtual has changed where we don't listen to the new, and instead we just have the save state. So by default now, our has changed is just whether the save state matches or not, and that's all we care about. So now what we can do is have a default one, but if we want to override it with the new keyword, we can. And now we have both the has changed working for the actions print view, as well as working for hopefully the base. Another issue we have here is we can only save the state and restore the state, but never get the state as a JSON, because we want to be able to get this state without committing it for when we want to make a copy of something. For that, we'll want a new function. So we'll put public string get saved state. And to be honest, that doesn't even need a method body because it's just going to be the JSON serialize. And then this can call now get state, which isn't really saved state, it's just get state, to be honest. And then in here, we can do the same. And we'll need to pass in what we want to restore, because now you don't just necessarily want to restore from here, because if we want to copy this and restore from some other state, we need to pass it in. But for that, we'll need a string that's nullable, so we can define if we're passing it in or not. State to restore by default is null, so that the method still acts exactly the same. And then instead of save state, we'll say if the state to restore is null, and then it's figured it out already, we'll use the save state. So this just keeps the same behavior now. If you don't pass anything in, it's going to pull the save state, which is exactly what it would have been doing because it's pulling save state here. But now you can pass in the state to restore into this deserialize. That basically just means you can call restore save state to restore it from the saved state, or you can restore it from something you pass in. So again, we probably want to rename this to restore state, not necessarily the saved state, because you can either leave it blank and it will pass in the save state, or you can change it. Another minor issue we're going to face here is because we're using a get type here, this would normally be the type of class, but because we're inside now the view model base, this will always be view model base. So you're not going to deserialize correctly. Instead, we're going to have to just get the type, which is easier than you think. We'll just do the type equals the get type like we're doing. But instead, what we'll do is say declaring type, and that will be the top level class. So that'll be like the actions view model. It can be null though, because if they call it from within this class, it would be null. So we'll just do a null checker. And if it is a null checker, we'll just return the actual view model base. So for whatever reason, if we wanted to clone this class, this would still work. And now wherever there's get type, we can actually use the type instead. So we use it there. And is that it? That's the only place we use it. Yeah, I don't think there's anything we're missing there. If we compile, it should still compile, which is good. So now let's look at fixing the edit command. And this is where we want to now use those new functions to make a copy of this. So we want to pull the profile view. But what you want now is the copied profile view model. This will just be a new print profile view model. We don't care about it for now. And then we should be able to do copied print profile dot restore state. And then using the new method where you can pass a string and now a JSON string, we can use the print profile view model and the new method called getState, which IntelliSense has just completely wiped out for me. What is going on with IntelliSense? Yes, turn that off. Right then, let's try again without AI. So print profile.getState. Come on, IntelliSense. There we go. That will pull the JSON of this object and hopefully we store it into this one, and then we can now use the copied one here. Print profile check for null needs to be above, and now we should have a copied profile to go into here, and if the copied profile is confirmed, we return. So will that now make a successful copy? So actions, edit. Whoa, maybe not. Let's see what the issue is. State to restore, so it's something with the JSON serialized, does not match target type view models, action print view model, print profile. Okay, where have we left that in? Oh, I didn't notice this here. The deserialize has actually got the type embedded. When we moved it in, we need to make that generic as well. So for that, we'll need to move that below the type, and then we're going to have to change this from this syntax instead as the state to restore, the type we pass in, and that should be it. Try again, edit. Yes and no. There's nothing there. So is the serializer failing quietly still? Let's try to serialize a class then on its own. So we'll do, we'll copy this serialize command, which is just this, and we'll pass in, say, a print profile there. And now let's run this and see if we get any crash. Because with this being run on a button command, and we don't capture it, then it's not going to throw an error. There we go. Serialize and deserialization of a function, confirm dialog view model. Okay, so that's trying to deserialize the onConfirm command. So we just need a options passing into JSON serializer. Let's just go above here. Let's just do a private JSON serializer options. JSON options equals new. No, how would that be a new page action? JSON serializer options. And in here now, we want to do ignore read-only properties and ignore read-only fields. What? This IntelliSense has gone whack. Ignore read-only fields, tab. Wow, that's going funny at the minute. Ignore read-only properties. Right indented, sure. What else might we want? I know what else we're going to have an issue with. We're going to have an issue with the confirm dialog this. So if you've used JSON before, you'll notice that when you deserialize and serialize, it can't handle double not a number. So if we leave that out, I'll show you that it's going to crash. I can guarantee on that. But now in the serialize, pass in the options. In deserialize, pass in the options. And just to confirm, because we're going to need to see this crashing here, we'll mimic the options here, pass it in here, and let's see now. So I'm guessing that this is going to crash on the not a number now, but it should have fixed the attempt to deserialize the commands. Nope, still using onConfirm. Why? Why is it trying to deserialize onConfirm? Oh, I know why. Because onConfirm isn't a it is a getter and setter, so you can set it, but we don't want this to be serialized. This is not something we want to copy over for the purposes of editing. So we'll just add a JSON ignore to that specific method there, to be honest. These are still valid. We still do actually want to ignore read-only properties. So we'll leave that in. And now let's see if we crash on the numbers. So actions, edit. There we go. And there's the, I'm used to seeing this because it happens so often. it can't deserialize numbers. So for that, we do, what's it called, number handling, and then you can do different options. So strict will crash. If we just do allow floating point literals, that's the not a number, infinite, and negative here. This will just allow it to be effectively not serialized, and it will then simply not add it as part of the deserialization. So it will be not set. That's the way it handles it. The only difference would be if we made a new profile, restored it from a state, but we edited the copied profile first with a number, it wouldn't get overridden because the JSON just can't handle that number. But now this should deserialize, and this will still fail, but we shouldn't crash when we deserialize now. There we go, so that's not crashed. So that should mean if we get rid of this, do the same number handling inside of the base model here, it should now hopefully deserialize and work. So now, can we copy settings? No. So there must be something different with the, where is it? Not confirmed dialog, view model base. The get state. So, there you go, we're missing the state again. So there's no type in here, we've just passed in serialize. But we need to do this, we need the type. So we're going to have to copy the type like this, the exact same way. Paste it in and do that. Otherwise it's going to serialize the view model base, not the calling type. So that's going to be what the problem is there. You can see how it's not as straightforward to make a JSON function that's more universal. Now, JSON cannot be converted from double. Cannot convert value from string as a number. Why? Because we haven't passed in the options here. So we need to remember those JSON options need to go into the deserialize call as well. That's it, they're in all three calls. Let's try once more. We'll get there in a minute. Right, finally. Yes, there we go. So now there should be a copy. There you go, and you can see underneath it's not editing. So the last thing would be to go to this call now on the actions page, and in the edit, if we click cancel, we do ignore. If we didn't click cancel, we want to now copy the state back. So copy view model. Now we want to commit copied view model back. And to do that, we can just do the opposite, which is profile view model dot restore state, and we can do copied profile dot get state. And that will do for now, but obviously we have here to do database stuff. So now do we have edit landscape, put to at the end, click save. There we go, and it's edited it. Copies to 1. Yep, copies to 2. Click no. There we go. Now let's just change this yes and no. We don't want to say yes and no, we want cancel and save. And then I think we're done there for the copying of the view model. Where are we for print profile view model? This will be confirm text wants to be save, and cancel text wants to be cancel. Actions, edit, there we go, cancel and save. So that's it. We've now got a universal copy method. So we can effectively copy any view model base with states, and using JSON, it will effectively clone the objects. We've got the edit dialog working. I think it's pretty much done. And then obviously we've got to now finish off the UI to have all of the information inside.